Hi, Todd Warren here in the Forecast Center with a look at our weather week ahead here on ArkLaTexHomepage.com as well as the ArkLaTexHomepage.com app. And as we look at the weather pattern, you can see the big upper level low, which is spinning its wheels across the Intermountain West, Northern Rockies. This is what's going to bring us that good shot for some showers and thunderstorms to start the weekend. And then eventually upper level ridging is going to redevelop here across the southeastern sections of the country and bring some of the hottest temperatures of the year so far next week. But let's talk about the storms. First of all, you can see an enhanced risk indicated by the Storm Prediction Center for most of the ArkLaTex. Biggest, most widespread issue probably will be damaging straight line wind. Several reports of large hail also can be expected. We'll also have to keep an eye on the potential for some flash flooding and some of the heavier downpours. And we can't totally rule out a few tornadoes with this activity as it makes its way across the region. Very similar to what we experienced last time, just the embedded, we'll have a line moving through and we could see a few embedded spinners within that line. So here are the details on timing as we look at Robin's start of Futurecast. You can see moving through the afternoon and evening, we will see a partly cloudy sky across the ArkLaTex. Tomorrow morning, clouds will be firmly entrenched across the region, and we'll be watching a cluster of thunderstorms to the west of the ArkLaTex here, which will enter the northwestern sections of the area late Saturday morning, if not early Saturday afternoon. Now, Futurecast has been running a few hours faster than other models, so keep that in mind. But it shows the line moving into McCurtain County, Clarksville, Mount Pleasant, late morning. Again, it could be as soon as late afternoon. Further to the south, it moves into Texarkana, early afternoon to mid-afternoon, say 1 to 3. Shreveport, we're looking at timing anywhere from 2 to 4. And then those storms will gradually move this first wave out of the area anywhere from 5 to 7 p.m. Saturday evening. The big question is, will we see much more in terms of redevelopment? Futurecast does show a few more storms could try to pop up late Saturday night into Sunday morning. That activity would move east during the day, probably would not pose any kind of severe weather threat. And then we would actually close Sunday with a little bit of sunshine across the area. That will likely continue into Monday with a mix of clouds and sunshine. Rainfall, as I mentioned, this is basically the outlook from Futurecast. And don't focus too much on location. Just focus on the colors, and you can see that those colors where we have yellows and oranges, those indicate anywhere from 2 to over 4 inches of rain could be a possibility in spots. So that's something we'll be watching. If we get a couple pretty good cells move over the same areas, the potential is there for those amounts to occur. Generally speaking, I would anticipate around an inch or so at your location, but keep in mind, you could be one of those isolated spots that pick up over 2 to maybe 3 inches of rainfall during those thunderstorms that run through Sunday morning. Here's a look at the overall pattern. You can see that disturbance that I showed you at the beginning, now by tomorrow moving into the Midwest, producing those showers and thunderstorms tomorrow night into Sunday morning. That clears, and then we'll have another one follow it. And it looks like most of the energy with that one probably will stay to our north. Now, Storm Prediction Center does indicate that the ArkLaTex will be on the southern edge of the severe weather risk area. One big wild card is, I mentioned this yesterday, going to be this big upper level ridge here, which is going to be in the process of building to the north and west. And that will probably begin to limit the amount of activity that we see here. Big question is, how soon will that limitation begin? That's something we'll be watching for very closely for Tuesday. You can see definitely by the end of the week, that ridge extending over the southeastern half of the country will keep the main track of this disturbances well to the north of the ArkLaTex for the end of next week, and probably that will continue through the Memorial Day weekend. All that said, let's give you a look at your 7-day forecast. You can see weather ready day tomorrow for the possibility for the severe weather. 85 for your Saturday daytime high. 88 Sunday with some late day sunshine. Again, a few storms possible in the morning. Can't totally rule out a pop-up shower or thunder shower Monday, but our next best chance of rain probably will be Tuesday, and I think the chances will be highest across the northern sections of the area. Then we'll shut things off and heat things up. Low 90s for daytime highs Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week in Shreveport. Probably will linger through the holiday weekend as well. In Texarkana, you're looking at highs mainly in the 80s. Again, weather ready today for you. Notice your Tuesday's rain chance a little bit higher since you're further to the north. And notice that your daytime highs will also eventually settle back up close to 90 by the time we get to Thursday, Friday. Actually could hit 90 at some point next weekend. So repeating once again, pretty good outbreak of severe weather possible. Widespread damaging wind, something that we'll be watching for. Widespread may be a bit strong. Numerous reports of wind issues, what we might expect here across the ArkLaTex. And then, again, hail, also a concern. A few tornadoes also possible. And we'll also be watching for some localized flash flooding with some of the heavier downpours. So that's what's on the way for your Saturday. We'll have further updates as we get closer to the arrival of the storms.